Huh? I'm going to say this first. I'm going to say this before we even get started. I tell you what, Jim LeBombard is one of the best in the business. The best. I've been in it for a long time, don't even know how many years, but a guy that looks out for you, has your job responsibilities in mind 24/7. More than I do, to be honest, or any coach probably. But Jim does a great job, and I want to publicly thank him for all the help, the guidance, advice. Doesn't know a damn thing about pick and rolls, but he knows. He knows quite a bit. But no, he's the best friend, confidant, colleague. You know, all the above. He's going to be severely missed by the Toronto Raptors, and I want to thank him personally for keeping me in line, from keeping my head straight for the last 6 years. So you know, we'll miss him and his family. So,
what did he tell you not to say today?
he told me not to say what I really thought about you, Michael, but I can't tell you what he really thinks about you. No, it's all good.
Dwane, at this point of the year, Lazai does his assessment of every part of the organization. When he calls you in, how would you offer your own self-assessment?
Could have done better. I always feel that way, Doug, that I could have done better. What could have, even the year we won the championship in Dallas, in Seattle, wherever it was, had success, always could do better. There's not a coach in this league that can't look at the season and say, hey, I could have done better. I could have you know, had a better game plan for this game, had a better game plan to stop this certain player. You look back at it. You always try to improve and get better. I thought we made some steps in some areas this year that were better, and I thought we took some steps back in shot challenges, and our rotations, our scramble defense could have been better. You know, even though we were in the top 10 in both categories a lot of the years, which is a credit to our coaching staff, who did a great job. There's a lot of things. You know, I thought there were times I thought we adapted earlier in the season with top three to the three ball, to offensively playing up tempo, shooting the three, taking the three, to the new NBA. And again, somehow, some way, I've got to do a better job at the end of the year to make sure we keep that, where guys do keep their confidence. They do make sure they continue to take the three and get our goals up as far as number three. So I got to do a better job from that standpoint. But there's always areas in our team, in our play, that I feel like I can do a better job. Our staff we all can do better. And we can never be, there's nothing we can be satisfied about with our job performance, especially after the way we went out. The season, there was areas and times of the season we could have been better defensively, better offensively, definitely. And again, adapting to the new age NBA, which is the three.
In each of the last 4 years, your scoring numbers, the percentages are down in the playoffs, but that could probably be said for a number of teams, for most teams, as the game changes in the postseason. Mm-hmm. How much of that is postseason play, and how much of that is things that you guys can be doing better?
Well, again, I would say the scoring traditionally is down in playoff basketball. You know, we really emphasize taking the three, shooting the three, more in the playoffs this year. Making them is a different story. We had opportunities. We got to do a better job of continuing to work between games, days off, with our three-point shooting, to get more reps or whatever it is to knock those down, because that's what the team that we have to beat, which right now is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics and Washington, is the three ball. You've got to be able to make threes against those teams offensively to be successful. And on the other end, you got to be able to defend them. You got to be able to defend them mainly in transition. That's where the first breakdown starts, is, you know, if you're late getting back and finding your man, there's a huge chain reaction that opens up a three on the other side. So all those things we can do a better job of, and we're going to start it in training camp.
Another part, another interesting aspect of coaching is this relationship with a point guard. Kyle said you guys have had your ups and downs. We all know that you've had a fractious relationship. How is it now?
I think it's solid. You know, again, you always, every coach I've been with has always had that relationship with the up and down relationship with the point guard. You know, because they're competitors, you're a competitor, you have a way you see things, and you want to be on the same page most of the time. And I know Kyle and I are on the same page most of the time now. We've grown, just like any relationship. We've gotten better, more solid. I understand him better now, who he is, how he thinks. He understands what we're trying to do as a coaching staff. And again, it's never going to, there's never a relationship, and when you have that many days and that many months, that many plane rides, games, timeouts, practices, film sessions, that's going to be perfect. It's never going to happen. But our relationship is solid together. You know, we see the same things. We think it's scary. We're thinking the same thing alike. You know, I'm sure he's thinking the same way. That's kind of scary when you start thinking like each other and anticipating what he's thinking. But Cal has grown as a player, as a person, as a man, as a family man. I've watched it right before my eyes, and he's had some of his best success here. We all have here, and so hopefully that goes forward. I know he has a say in that with free agency coming up, but I enjoyed our relationship. I enjoy the way he plays, you know, and you know, you have your moments. We all do, but as any relationship, it's grown tremendously.
Can this team get to where you want to go without him?
It would be difficult. You know, it'd be difficult, and that's a tough question to answer right now. You know, again, it's going to be a lot of decisions to be made. Excuse me, on the roster by management, and also Kyle has a say in that. Also in free agency, he's earned that right. Kyle has earned that unrestricted free agent tag. Like most players in the league. So that's a very difficult question, and again, a lot of other variables have to go into that to see, you know, if you're going to be successful without a player.
In the evolution of the game, and the three-point shot is done to the game. Big man like Jonas, who's kind of a throwback big man, quickest of foot. Is there anything he could do other than just getting quicker to be able to, I guess, earn more minutes going forward, or have a role in the NBA going forward? Because it just seems defensively like he's not capable of keeping up.
Well, I told Jonas it has nothing to do with, he's in the best condition he's been in since he's been here, as far as his weight, his conditioning, his foot speed. I thought he did a tremendous job in the pick and roll defense, as well as you can against a player like Kyrie Irving. He and Corey. He made adjustments in the pick and roll, which has been trouble for him. You know, changing different schemes during a game in one game, but he did that. So that's not the issue with Jonas and any big man, not just Jonas. Any big man in this league is when you're guarding shooting fives, or when teams downsize and play their fours as fives and they're stretching the floor, and mainly in transition. Because if he's late getting down the floor, now there's a chain reaction. But Jonas, that's his goal. He's made every adjustment in his career that he's made. He can do it. He is a good enough athlete to get back in transition and find. That's the key and again, that's one area that's very difficult to work on during the season. And that's somebody, Doug asked me, you asked me the question, what can we do better? That's another area where we've got to spend a lot of time in training camp guarding transition fives, three-point shooting fives, and when teams do downsize. That's an area where we must get better, and we will get better.
Coach, you talk about this continuously. This team's not a finished product. How much of this year was geared towards player development, player evaluation, growing?
A lot. It's always, Stephen, as far as it should be our goal as a coaching staff is to continue to get players better, whether it's DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Jonas Valanciunas. They have to get better in different phases where they're weak. You know, like Doug was asking me about a coach, there's always areas where players can get better. And the one beautiful thing about DeMar DeRozan is, you know, he always improves in some area, whether it's his passing. I thought he got much better with his handling of pick and rolls. I mean, the blitzes, the corrals, the different looks that teams gave him this year. I remember when I first got here, I was just anxious to see him pass the ball, have a double team in the post. Then he got to the pick and rolls. Then he started seeing blitzes in the pick and rolls. Then he started seeing corrals, fake blitzes, and he's growing tremendously in those areas. His next step is the three ball. Is knocking that down. It's no secret that his next evolution as a player has to be that, and also to continue to be an excellent defender. If J.R. Smith, who has been known in his history not to be a great defender, can defend, they can put him on a top offensive player on another team. There's not a reason that DeMar can't do that. He has athleticism, he has foot speed, he has the toughness, he has the body. He's done a great job with his body. He can do that also.
Is there a young guy on this roster like a Norm or Dwane who you think next year could take that next big step in their career?
All those guys, Norm, Dwane, excuse me, Fred, all those guys can take another step in their career. They have all the potential in the world. Quietly, Bruno has grown. He took some big steps with the 905 team. Now, you know, whether it translates to the next level right now or not, we have to find that out. But I thought he grew as a player. Dwane grew. I thought the injury set him. He was primed to come in this year before he got hurt in last summer. I thought he was having one of his biggest summers ever. And I thought he had some very, very good minutes for our team this year in big minutes. I thought last night Fred VanVleet came in and held his own. He scared me when he hit the side of the backboard on that first three. But I tell you what, he came right back and had the wherewithal to take it and make the next one. And that takes a lot for a rookie to do that in that setting against that team. And I don't want to ever minimize, that was a big play for him. So all of our young players have a lot of potentials. Our scouts have done a great job of scouting those guys. Again, like you said, it's on us to continue every day to have some type of development, whether it's mental, film work, physical, continue to work with those guys to get better.
Dwane, with the way the game's going and the emphasis on the three-point shot, whose game needs the three-point shot more, Jonas or DeMar?
Can I say both? I think DeMar has a better chance of getting there quicker. Yeah. Jonas is going to get there before, and I hope it's next year. I don't know. I can't guarantee that, but I would have no problem with that whatsoever. All of our players should work on the three ball, and there's not a player on our roster that should not work on their three-point shot if they want to get more time. And that's going to be a huge part of our offense going forward, is emphasizing the three, taking the three, and making it, and working on it this entire summer, no matter who it is. They've got to increase their three-point shooting, because the day of 30 and 40 attempts is going to be the norm here pretty soon.
Dwane, you've been in a couple of stops in your career where teams have been really, really good. Seattle, but I guess maybe Dallas in particular. How hard is it in the middle of those areas where you're good, but you can't seem to get over the hump to keep with it and keep some perspective there?
Michael, it's the most difficult thing to do in sports, because we were at that crossroads in Dallas. People don't realize how, we were at the crossroads, and we finally got over the hump and won the championship. But it was tedious. It wasn't like it was, we brought in a lot of new players, sort of like what we did here, and made the trade with Washington, and got over the hump. But it wasn't like it was easy. It reminded me a lot of this year as far as gelling, coming together, terminology, understanding. It's still basketball, but it's still, getting over that hump is the hardest thing to do. It may be a play or a scheme or a player that steps up and makes the difference in those situations. You know, it's tough because we're still growing. We're getting closer and closer and closer, and we're knocking on the door. And you know, it's about individual development from within. Each player getting better with their jump, with the three-point shot, getting better individually, defensively. Because again, we're talking about making threes. You also have to defend it. And you've got to have flexibility, and which we did this year, I thought, after the trade, much better than ever before, to try to defend the three. And that's an area where we got to do a better job also of defending the three.
Dwane Patrick Patterson's going to be a free agent as well. He maybe doesn't get talked about as much as Kyle or Serge, but are the things that he does just as hard to replace?
He was a big glue piece to our team. He was a ball mover. We wanted him to take more threes toward the end of the year. But he was a very important part of what we did. His toughness, his understanding of what we are trying to accomplish on the floor, the plays. He knew the system backwards and forwards. His leadership, the way he played, was very important to us. And for whatever reason, toward the end of the year, he just didn't. He didn't take the opportunities of the threes that he normally did, and you know, we wanted him to. He has to do that for us to continue to be successful. But he was a very important part. Just his athleticism, his toughness, his understanding, you know, his role and everybody else's role. He was a big-time team guy for us.
Coach, was the injury, or is there something else that you saw after that sort of halfway point of the season where he never really quite looked like
he really, I don't know if he ever really got 100% healthy. After the injury, he was off on his long layoff. He never was the same after that. His rhythm was off a little bit. And again, if you miss that much time as he did, but it affected him. I thought his three-point shooting production and effectiveness. But he tried to give it to us in other areas, whether it was defense, moving the basketball, screening. He was one of our best screeners, putting his body on other people that we had. So, you know, I'm sure it's a lot of factors, Josh, that caused that, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
So, and this is obviously a different situation than you faced in Dallas, but you used that phrase crossroads. Do you feel like this, more than any other summer that you've been here, that this team is at crossroads?
I wouldn't say that we're at, you know, the team or to blow it, whatever the roster. That's more with Masai. You have to talk to him about that. But I'm saying we're there. We're close enough to smell the roses. If, you know, whether I do a better job of coaching, you know, or whatever it is, you know, players stepping up. A player, I don't know who it is, steps up and plays above and beyond who he is, or a stop here, a basket there. You never know what that one thing is to catapult us to the next level. You know, again, I liked our team. I like our team. What we had, the changes we made with Serge and Tuck coming in, I thought Tuck gave us a toughness, and I thought you saw it yesterday. Even though James still had 35 points, he turned him over 6 times. You know, this is most uncomfortable I thought he was in the whole series, and it's because of Tuck. So, again, we added what we needed, but then now we just got to get it to gel together, come together, make defensive and offensive plays at the right time. And, you know, that doesn't happen just because you put it all together. It happens with everything coming together, you know, in the right way.
You already acknowledged how difficult it would be to win without Kyle. What's the answer to the same question with Serge?
Well, again, I haven't been with Serge as long as I have Kyle. You know, that's the difference. You know, Serge is, again, he's earned his free agent tag, but you know, he's a important type or piece that you need to win. And I think Serge has a lot of miles still left in the tank defensively, offensively. I think he's just really coming into his own offensively and feeling himself offensively and kind of transforming his game to the 3-ball. He helped us try to guard the 3-point shot. And we got to do a better job of teaching it and working on it as the game is progressing. And, Serge is a big part of that because he can get out and stay in front of a guy like Kyrie Irving as much as anybody can, or Antetokounmpo. Those type of .4s, .5s that are coming into the league now. He has the foot speed and ability to guard those guys.
Would you describe Serge as sort of what's becoming the prototypical starting five in this league?
Getting close to it. A guy that can go out and play on the perimeter, shoot the three. Again, there's still a place for him in the low post, just like Jonas. You've got to go down and punish guys in the low post, and I thought Jonas did that. Can't remember what game it was. They tried to put Fry on him. They couldn't play Fry because Jonas was so effective against him, and Fry wasn't getting it done on the other end. He was missing some shots, so they took him out. But, you have to be able to dominate and make plays down there if you're going to trade twos for threes. And Serge can do that. He can go down the low post, or he can pop out to the three-point area.
Between the free agents you have right now, 4 of the top, 8, 6.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys don't necessarily control that. It's their decision as well. What you still do have under contract, could you remain competitive, continue on the fly, or would it be a rebuild type situation if everybody decides to run?
Again, I like our group. I mean, I think you can be competitive with the players under contract we have because I think that much of them. Again, that's another roster decision you have to talk to Masai about. We haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about it, so I'll leave that to him. But I like the guys that we have under contract, each one of them. I think they are all competitive. Like I told Fred VanVleet, at the same stage, he's where Kyle was when Kyle was in Memphis. Who's to say he can't be a Kyle Lowry type? Once he gets to, Kyle has years and years and years of experience on him and just know-how, and Kyle's developed his game to another level. But who's to say Fred VanVleet can't be that? Just with time and work and that Kyle put into his craft. So VanVleet can do, he's the same size, and same toughness and grit, and probably a better shooter at the same stage. Now, Kyle's a much better shooter now, but it took work to get there. I'm just talking about you, Corey. Yeah. All right, man.
You were talking about the rookies
Mm-hmm.
earlier and how they're coming around. I got to bring up Stack. When I talked to him at the beginning of the year, he said to me how you along with Masai thought that would be a pretty good thing to go down
Mm-hmm.
5. Every time a player came back up from Jerry's finishing school,
Mm-hmm.
it was like you were able to sit right in the line.
Mm-hmm.
How good of a job did Jerry do for you?
He did an excellent job, as did Jesse the year before with Norm. Those guys, that's what the 905 is for. Those guys do a great job down there, and the great thing about it is close. It's right here where the guys can go down there, go play a game, come right back. And so they did an excellent job of guys going down there, Fred going down last year, Norm. So it's been a great plus for us, and Stack did a good job this year with winning the championship and those guys getting the experience. It was huge. So and again, those guys, they run a lot of the same stuff, so the continuity between the two programs is huge when they come back, so they don't lose track. So it was very important that they did a good job down there.
Probably pretty tough to evaluate Damari's season last year,
Mm-hmm.
the injury and the time that he missed. How would you assess what you got from him this year? Do you need more from the starting 3 spot than what he brought over the entire season with the ups and downs?
Yeah, it's really unfair to Damari just because of he was been battling injuries, Josh, the 2 years he's been here. It's not the same Damari that we saw in Atlanta. Just because the Nick here, Nick there is reoccurring things that he's gone through, so it's not fair. And then we bring in Tuck, toward the end of the year. So that was an emotional roller coaster for him. So he's been in a tough situation, fighting injuries, fighting Tuck coming in, go small, get another ball handler. You put Norm in the game. And so he's been through a lot here. So it hadn't been fair to really evaluate who he is, what he can do, and what he brings to the table, because we haven't seen the healthy 100% DeMarre Carroll.
Are you confident that real healthy DeMarre Carroll can still exist?
If he's healthy, yes, he can. Yeah, I have no question whatsoever. Once he's 100%, and again, we can't get things twisted as far as what guys can and can't do against a guy like James. He'll move whoever out of his way. We forget he's 270, 6'8", 270, and Tuck was a perfect match for him as far as strength, body-wise, size-wise, mass, to guard a guy or to try to guard a guy like that. So we can't judge DeMarre on that one, but it would be really good to see 100% healthy DeMarre Carroll. No nicks, no bumps, no bruises, no nothing, just 100%. And he talked about this summer he's going to go back to Atlanta, work on his strength, work on his weightlifting, and get ready for the season. So that's going to be the exciting thing of having 100% DeMarre Carroll.